The Early Adventures is sadly arranged. That has had its time. But what a time it had. It produced some absolute gems. I mean, we both really adore this range. So now in July 2024, as we look forward to not one, but two helpings of the Second Doctor, Jamie and Zoe, in the forms of Conspiracy of Raven, Second Doctor Adventures box set, and a Lost Story, Operation Werewolf, we thought it's about time we look back to one of this TARDIS team's early adventures. The Wreck of the World was the one we chose. What a story this is. Released in December 2017.
Hmm.
Written by Timothy X. Attack. Believe this was his first.
Yeah, this was his first
Yeah,
one.
he's gone on to do quite a few more things for Big Finish since then. But yeah, this is where it all began. Very, very 60s. I mean, you kind of expect it with the early adventures, but
Yeah,
this range is one that mixes full cast and narration to sort of recreate that feel of the missing episodes soundtracks. But it heightens it really. The prose really does help. It doesn't intrude at all.
it sets the world building up, I feel,
Hmm.
a lot. It enhances that. And even just little character moments, I feel, as well. It all
Yeah.
feels very reminiscent of like Target books as well.
Yeah. There's a more prosy nature to them rather than simply audio description.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's far more than just that. Yeah, and I think they work wonderfully because you sometimes forget that it's there in a way. Yeah, it just paints such a wonderful picture for the story. Uh, yeah, but Wreck of the World itself is it's another arc in space in a way.
it's a
It's
bit wheel
about
in space as well. I'd say part one
mm,
feels very wheel in space and arc in.
you got the robot of sorts.
Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah,
little gimmicky thing, the
yeah.
little
Although
gadget thing.
Gnostic, yeah,
Yeah,
Gnostic's much more adorable than the weird robot in Wheel in
yeah,
Space.
the little servo robot. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's sort of arc in space in the sense that it is another arc. It was a ship that was sent out into space when it seemed Earth was on the brink of collapse, and so it was a way to for humanity to survive, to persevere. Humanity ultimately took a different path, went on and survived, but nevertheless, this ship went off in search of a colony world with many treasures hidden aboard from Earth's history and something more menacing, evil, even. I think we
Hmm.
could say evil for the
Yeah,
Second
it's
Doctor.
definitely
It's
evil.
what he
Yeah.
goes out there and fights. It's in his nature. Although, yeah, I mean, the threat is a bit more nuanced than that in a way. It's perhaps more of,
Discord, isn't it? It's got a
yeah,
reference to the recent series, like the Pantheon of Discord type stuff.
perhaps, yeah. The
Yeah,
word is
the
certainly dropped in there.
Corvus.
Yeah, the Corvus. It's a very 60s threat, very much in line with the great intelligence in some ways. It's a force of nature. It feeds on decay. Yeah, and it creates some very interesting monsters, the sleepers, for
Which feels very
this.
Oxygen with like the suits from Oxygen, I
Hmm.
feel.
Particularly when they're crawling over the surface.
Yes.
Hmm.
I think that
Yeah,
creates
I
the
think,
narration really enhances the descriptions of like the decay of these uh
yeah, really adds to the
sleepers.
horror. This is quite a
Yeah.
horror-filled story.
It's quite a bleak one, I'd say, and it's quite doom ridden that characters are getting wiped left, right, and center. There's quite a small cast, so it becomes intimate very quickly.
Hmm. Yeah, as I mean, it was very intimate from the start because, as is often the case with part ones in the 60s, and again, the part one of the Ark in Space, it's just your TARDIS crew, really, for
Yeah.
the most part. And you get your Gnostic in there as well, but not a human character. Sorry, Gnostic.
Mhm.
I'm doing Gnostic a disservice here. I love Gnostic.
But this is a
Yeah.
really good story for Zoe, as Zoe meets her match, as it were.
Mm.
So if you like
Yeah, in the
Zoe,
form
this
of
would be a good one.
20. Yeah, and on a programmed human, as I'll say, they've got connection there through shared experience. While this is the same TARDIS team as we're going to have back this month, it's one cast member short because this is Fraser Hines doing both Second Doctor and Jamie, whereas now we've got Michael Troughton wonderfully inhabiting the role as Second Doctor. I mean, it's wonderful having Michael here now, but I
You
still
forget
think
how
that
good Fraser
in the
is.
role as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I think Fraser just gets it, like the little nuance, like the little coughs, and yeah, and I like how the story sort of pokes fun at 60s cast members going on holiday, but there's a reason in the story why the second Doctor's got a bit of a tan.
It would have been wonderful if they really committed to the bit with that and had him be absent for a
Disappear.
whole
Yeah,
episode. I mean, I could understand why they didn't. It wouldn't work narratively, but you think that could have
it
been
would have been a great little thing of going, oh, I see what you did there,
such a
Timothy.
yeah. So you see it somewhat with the gag, but if they really committed,
Yeah,
it probably would have made for a lesser experience overall.
I mean, if you know,
Just for
you'll
that
enjoy
one
it.
little laugh.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it never feels like you'd got two team members playing free.
yeah.
It always does feel like a full team here, which is wonderful. Yeah, I really do just adore this story. I think it feels very right for the 60s, very creepy. Yeah, and some interesting sci-fi concepts as well. I mean,
I
it
have
certainly
issues with it.
Go on.
I feel like it can feel a bit of a. I know that it's a 60s story. It feels a bit of a slow burner to really get going and find the
Oh.
gears to start moving. I think for me, it took, pretty much towards the end of episode 2 and sort of episode 3 for it to really grab me, I would say.
I
think
felt fairly hooked from the start by the mystery of it all.
I
And the
wasn't really
atmosphere.
engaging with that, to be honest. I think as soon as we got sort of the mention of the threat, I was like, okay, we're building up to something here. I'm getting more on board now.
Yeah. I mean, part two's definitely got a sort of separate threat for a while, hasn't it? Of the integrity of the ark.
Yes.
Yeah, and the Doctor trying to make peace with the other visitors,
Hmm.
who are an interesting bunch. Certainly,
Yeah.
this is where it diverges from what would have been done in the 60s, because it would have just been a all-human team, probably mixed nationality, but most played by white Englishmen putting on funny accents. But yeah, whereas here you have a Commander Lorne, a fishwoman. You've got Porphintus, who's like this rock type creature, like
Yeah,
this very
like
much
a-
big brute.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But
and
like
then
the
you
thing.
you've got the aforementioned 20, who is augmented human. He's got like electrodes in his head and stuff to help his higher functions. And then you've got Professor Blavatsky, who is, I believe she's augmented human as well. So,
Hmm.
oh no, I think she might be just a regular human.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Commander Law mentions that.
It was
But
funny.
nevertheless, you got a mixed bunch there, and certainly ones who visually would have just been monsters or side characters on TV at the time. Like, I don't think they'd have gone to that effort for a supporting cast member, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because that's a lot of work for them. Extra work
Yeah.
and budget.
And also, it's just sort of like that point of view of, alien equals monster for the
Yeah, it's true.
60s. I mean, that wasn't always the case. You got Galaxy 4, of course.
Hmm.
Yeah, nevertheless, it's not, especially like a mixed group, it's not something they did that often. It sort of is more of a new series approach. Yeah, often if you've got a mix of aliens, it's often a case that they've raided the storeroom for old costumes they can get something out of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what would you rate it out of 10 then? Reckon
I would give it a 7.
I'll probably go for a 8 on this one, I think.
Oh, I thought you'd rate it higher because I thought this was like one of your favorites. But
I do think it's very good. Maybe a 9 then.
yeah, I mean, there's not much choice for Early Adventures with season 6B. Season 6, I should say.
Yeah, you've only got this ISOS network and Daughter of the Gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even the Second Doctor sold slightly short by the early adventures.
Yeah.
Because I think by the time that the range went into 2 stories a year, plus one of those being a multi-Doctor story, Yeah, it was the second Doctor's turn. So he only gets 2 full series, really, whereas the
Yeah.
first Doctor gets 3. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, it's a shame that the early adventures went the way they did. I mean, it's wonderful having first and second Doctor adventures full cast now in their own box sets, but yeah, I mean, part of me still has that lust for the vibe that the early adventures or
Yeah, they're perfect sort of winter listens.
very cozy listens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this certainly fits that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you've listened to Record World, please let us know how you found it.
Mm.
Are you more my side, more Ben's side? Do you think we're both wrong? Do you think it's the best Big Finish
Second
story ever?
Doctor,
Do you think it's the
yeah.
worst Big Finish story ever?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole wide range of opinions out there. Please share whichever yours are down below. Leave a like if you've enjoyed. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.